Yo. What is up, people? How's it going? Standing up today. It's a little bit easier to work from. I enjoyed it rather than sitting down yesterday. Just checking my phone. Right now, getting all the sound set up. You know how it is. Just enjoying it live. There we go. And I've also got a different music mix, if you couldn't tell. Anyway, I need to quickly do a couple things, namely this. And then, boom. Cool, that worked. Yep, that does work. So, welcome. We're going into game number 1 today. Standing, it's going to be a bit different, but hey. We'll see how it goes for us. Let's get going. So, I also need to fast forward. Oh damn, this looked to have a lot of delays. Here we go. So, game 1. Bam, bam, bang, bam, 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 bang, bang. How's this gonna look? It's bloody warm here as well. While we're waiting. Essentially, I've been boiling my ass off at work today. So, for once I'm wearing a t-shirt for a live stream. It's pretty weird, for me, anyway. I'm also waiting on my food. Because... well, I've been outside, being chilling while I got home, because who wants to be talking a lot before live streaming? And you know, here's an opportunity to just kind of break it up, as we're going into the best of 5. This series, people expect it to be the biggest blowout, and well, it isn't, as we're already into pick ban Rumble, Nautilus, Senna, removed by BLG, whereas PSG are going to remove off the Ashe, the Vi, and the Renekton. Kalista first pick. Varus response should realistically be the expected outcome. However, they're panning through a lot of different ADCs, and they're going to go for the Lucian. Okay, that's an interesting one. So, Lucian Nami versus Kalista and what? They don't necessarily have to show support here, though probably expect it. Renata is kind of the big combo pick with Kalista. I think the response, though, for PSG on 3 is Xin, if it isn't locked in here by I wasn't actually expecting that, per se. More so expected maybe a oh no, I was expecting maybe a different thing. If that gets locked in, that's kind of surprising. Talia, obviously, the more potent of the two, I think. So yeah, I expected that to come through. And as a whole, looking at the rest of the draft, it is certainly, and I do mean certainly, looking a bit more like a comp that I'm really also going to just do this. One sec. I'm trying to get myself in camera frame, I apologize. It's a bit hard to do, so there we go. That'll do. Now, continuing back to the game. Draft, ban phase, top laners are up, Xin's getting removed here by PSG. Jungle and tops, basically across the board. Rumble's already removed. TF's been removed now. I mean, you could go for Jarvan ban, Volley. It's a weird one because you don't normally see these picks coming in last. Lee's up. There's a potential ban. Viego. All viable options here to be banned out. But with TF removed by BLG, targeting out the top pool, been looking to get a carry. I'm surprised that Jax is up and available. Still a potent pick. Sedge is going to be removed. That's actually quite nice. So I think one of these three junglers will get picked up here by PSG. Maokai. Don't lock that in. It doesn't really work when you've got a Talia. And then you're getting counter pick for Azi. It's an interesting one. I don't like Maokai here. I get it pairs well with the Nami and the Lucian, but you kind of are susceptible to just absolute blood from this BLG lineup. They want to scrap. It's the LPL style, the bloodthirsty style. Elk is a phenomenally early game, scrappy ADC, and the rest of BLG like to scrap as well. Bin especially. Up on that top side, probably one of the biggest KDA merchants in the LPL. And right now, he's on attack. So BLG have actually got a strong engage comp with the Jarvan and the Cholesterol to go in for picks. You've then got Ari, who can dash around and cause havoc. Also can start her own plays. Versus PSG's kind of burst-centric single target comp with the Talia and Lucian. Urgot would kind of round it out quite nicely with a bit more frontline. And honestly, the drafts are quite similar in terms of how they want to execute. But personally speaking, BLG got the upper hand on this one, per se. Now, I think that as a whole, the two teams will probably scrap it out through the majority of the series. But yeah, only when we get into game will we know how this one will go. So, I'm just gonna skip forward to when we get into game, because we've already seen a bit of delay, and I think this one will be the interesting one, to say the least. As onto the riff we go. Just gonna take a look at all the runes and everything, just standardized start to a game. Nothing out the ordinary on BLG's side. PSG, roughly the same. It's actually fleet footwork on the Urgot, so that's leading to probably more chase downs, because you normally expect maybe Conqueror, something a bit more sustained with the W auto attacks at past level 16 having such power. I think Conk would have been a little bit better. But as a whole, it's a weird one from these two teams. Or PSG in particular. Anyway, Ward picked up here, looking for an interesting start as Urgot's going to be spotted. That wraparound was noted. And it's just the Urgot and the Nami teaming up together to bully out Shun, who's going to be able to secure them. I think he might have missed one of the wolf camps, as K'Sante doing K'Sante things, already making a play onto this Talia. Naomi shows up to give a bit of healing, but here comes a Jarvan, knocked up into the air. It's an easy first blood to this BLG lineup, getting this series off to a bloody start. And honestly, got to give a lot of credit there to Bin. He spotted the invade coming in here and realized, well, there's two members of PSG making a play, and they're still here. So essentially, BLG make a play off of knowing the position of pretty much everyone. And as such, they catch out Maple in the mid lane and get the kill. Now we come back to talking about live. Ozzy's done good here. alongside Woody to guarantee this blue buff steal. Obviously, Maokai does have blue buff already from his own jungle, and essentially he's gone blue to blue. So PSG getting off to an early start in an interesting manner. Split map, finally PSG are going to hit onto top lane tier 1. Whereas in the bot side, Elk's just been free farming plates. He's already got for himself 3, has been showing up to help secure maybe more. The Demolish proc's going to make this tower take a little bit easier. And I think the lane swap back probably will come into fruition for PSG as they're going to go back to the bot side. They didn't get as much as an advantage as what BLG have as mid lane. A lot of damage being done to Knight, has to flash away to safety. And just taking a look at this early game, it's certainly doomed, I think, for PSG with how it's gone so far. I think the obvious difference is the plating taken. I think slightly more has gone into the back pockets of Elk. However, in actuality, the matchup's quite even. So, coming into this, as I was about to start spitfiring my talking, as Betty stepped forward into on, and we haven't really talked about BLG in a while. The last time we spoke about them was at Worlds, and how the roster has evolved since then. Picking up Knight into mid lane certainly has provided a different sort of mid lane pick, as Yagao played heavily the melee champions like the Yasuo's, Yones. He was more into them rather than control mages, whereas now the meta has shifted to a more mobile control mage setup. The Talias, the Aries, even though Ari was potent back then, you're certainly seeing her a lot more now alongside the Talia, as they're the more agile of the mid laners. The picks that provide the AP damage so your junglers can go for the likes of the Viegos, the Zins, even the Jarvan in this case, as they provide more for the team in terms of setup, more damage. It's a very strong setup, and Knight being picked up into the BLG, who was already challenging for the top of the LPL. Well, he is a very controversial player off the Rift. He certainly does provide a lot of strength to this BLG lineup. And with JDG, obviously, they've fallen apart since Worlds. Here at MSI, it's a great thing to see a BLG squad that realistically could be challenging for the World Championship at the end of the season. So, getting back into the game and talking about it, Void Grubs secured by PSG for the Drake trade. The early game plays aren't really being set up yet, as Maokai could look for a play onto Knight. Spirit Rush is available, so it'd be quite hard to get the kill, or enough lockup to secure it. Obviously, no flash on this Ari, so there is the potential as we go to bot side. The push is in favour of PSG. They get it to crash in, so there isn't that freeze opportunity there for BLG. And to be honest, it's a good setup for them to continue to play. Maokai, we need to keep track of, is ahead in CS, but somehow down 200 gold. Obviously, the kill, pretty sure that's First Blood. So, First Blood, kind of the difference between that matchup is topside Kasante getting chunked, forced to ghost out, hasn't got level 6 just yet, and gonna have to back here, Bin. TP probably is going to be used as bot side. Maokai throws a sapling in. as he's losing his blue, Shun's just repaying the favour. Let's be honest, it's a big pickup. And the bot side dive could be happening here. BLG almost killing... What? Woody gets absolutely chunked as the junglers are starting to brawl. Good work here by Junjai to keep Shun away from the bot lane. And that's going to result in the culling and the Nature's Grasp being used. They get the Fate's Call out from this Callista. And they will essentially even out the trade, even out the play more than anything. I think it's more worthwhile for BLG getting the 2 ults, but the dive is still on the cards for PSG as they're going forward. They actually get a massive knockback with the Bramble Smash, as the kill is going to come through. The bailout will not happen, and instead it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade as On gets the pickup, and I've got to go quickly. Yeehaw. Bye. There we go, got some food. I'm going to quickly have a bite to eat because I'm knackered. And then we'll get back into this. Anyway, let's get back into this. I need to move this back because it's in the way of me resting spot. So, back into it. Kill went over to PSG. They got for themselves a pick on Elk, which is huge. They invested quite a bit, so we watch it again. Obviously, BLG did not expect the replay, as in goes Junjai, a massive Q from the Maokai. Allows for the kill to be secured. It's a little unfortunate the sapling steals the kill away from the Lucian, but he ends up getting one, and that was overall a very worthwhile play for the PSG bot lane. And they will certainly feel a little bit better than how they did, well, a few minutes ago, to say the least. Anyway, back to talking about map state, and we said a few minutes ago, BLG obviously massive pickup in Knight compared to Yagao. And to be honest, PSG are certainly the underdogs in this series. The team is, don't get me wrong, going up against BLG, and they're both first seeds from their regions. But against BLG, the team that's been dominant for a few years now, because bear in mind, this is a team that beat T1 at MSI last year. This is the team that stepped up into a position that's there to dethrone JDG. And while T1 are arguably the greatest team of all time, and certainly the best team currently, BLG are certainly sitting up there alongside them. Now, this series, people are expecting the quick 3-0, or did expect a quick 3-0 from the BLG lineup, because they're that much better. The names are just the top of the world, names and superstars. As we did just see a Flash get burnt out. BLG getting that one, and they're setting up for the top lane 3-man dive. This is the sort of thing you have to expect. Good buffer there with E, as the all-out comes through. That's the kill secured. Knight's going to pick that one up, but the bot side, Tidal Wave going to be used, Fate's Call's going to go wide, and it's a 4-man dive coming out from BLG. Hostile Takeover goes through, and that pulls the Talia in with that massive charm, but the Spirit Rush gets onto the backline, and somehow Maple's still alive. It's a big shutdown for PSG, and now it's going to be Elk, ran down under the tower, going to be able to cleanse away the Maokai, and keeps himself alive as the rest of his team falls around him. Just getting ready. Maple could be in trouble. Gonna use the walls to get him the movement speed he needs. Where is Junjai? Not there to protect his mid laner as the Cataclysm secures another kill for BLG. That kind of evens out that bottom play, to be honest. And yeah, let's take a look at it once more. 3 members start it up as Nature's Grasp. It tags onto the Renata, who just gets eaten up immediately. The Fate's Call isn't used to go aggressive, instead it's used to peel. Knight's here, doing a lot of work. He dives forward once, 1 auto lands. All of the bullets from the Ariel E go onto Betty, so that is huge for PSG. It meant that Maple could stay alive in the play as the trade goes through. It's a 2-for-2 trade in the end, however. And PSG get themselves some nice gold into their carries. Looking at Betty right now, 202. This Lucian has got his first item. It's Static Shiv versus Opportunity, and Static Shiv looking to get the wave clear into the Callista. This is something we've started to see a bit more of in the Callista matchup, is Static Shiv instead of Kraken Slayer. Kraken Slayer is more so into the Varus, because the Varus, and then you go Static Shiv into the Zeri or the Callista. so that you can kind of match the pressure in lane. Bot side, that's a big, massive chunk onto the Renata. 4 members of PSG are down here. Nature's Grass is going to be thrown out. It's tanked up by Elk. Not Elk, it's by On. As it's on the top side. Somehow Jun's going to be on a killing spree. He kills off the Lucian. The big carry of PSG is shut down. And it's Callista's world. She opens up for the triple kill. Top side of the map. Casante's gone all out and Bin shuts down. Ozzy, and yeah. As you like, that's a clean wipe across the board. PSG get deleted off this rift. And all the work they've done early kind of has been just shut down right here, right now. What a massive fight in the favor of BLG, because they've taken the top lane tier 1, the bot lane tier 1. They got all them kills, and they're also going to get Herald. I think they also got a Drake off the back of this as well. And yeah, take a look how it starts. It's onto the backline. The Jarvan and the Ahri doing work to kill off the Lucian. Then Maple comes in a bit too late, isn't able to do too much, and Ahri and Jarvan immediately re-engage. This is the issue with this combo if you are PSG is. Ozzy kind of sacrifices himself to keep his team, I'd say, alive. He doesn't do that. And yeah, Casante doing Casante things, all out, bursts through the health bar, and goodbye PSG's chances in this game. What I'll say is, scaling wise, PSG do alright. I'd certainly favour them in the scaling game. However, BLG, they've got the early game, like snowball, ready to fall down the hill and build up into an avalanche right now, as they've just got so much gold off the back of that one play. 5k gold lead to them. And certainly, they're looking to build on it already. The mid lane tier 1 being chunked a little bit, as I'm pretty sure that is Demolish on the Renata. So she's going to be able to hit them towers quite heavily. Drake number 3 started in the game, and well, let's be honest, BLG will secure that quite easily, no contest. The good thing for PSG is Soul will be Cloud, and that's massive for them, because they don't have to necessarily contest Cloud. It's not the best Soul in the game, and I personally think that they've kind of got lucky here, as we're already seeing a bit of a trade, as that's Nature's Grass thrown out. Fate's Goal's going to just pull Renata's safety as a re-engage potential for BLG is being set up. 4 members in the mid lane as the Herald's dropped. They're looking to crack open the mid lane tier 1. It's going to get the crash in. Won't kill the tower just yet. BLG just going to be content with the damage. It's like an old Herald play, to say the least, where you just use it to crack damage onto in mid lane tier 1. As expected. Anyway, time to mute up a little bit and eat some food. Never mind, there's a fight in the mid lane, and it's going to be a catch out onto the bot lane of BLG as Renata falls. Bailout's not going to come through as a shutdown is given over to Maple. Now the continuation of the play is BLG is turning up, and it's going to be Knight getting up on the board for the team. Maple falls in a 2-for-1 trade. PSG going to be happy with that one, as Ozzy, you're being hunted, my friend. Jarvan's not gonna drop the flag on your head. Gets to safety. And back in base sits this Oh yeah, actually he was the one that was being chased down, I think. Even though I thought he was mid. It's weird. Anyway, let's watch this play again. How does it come into fruition? Just Lucian going aggressive. Then it's a flash forward onto the Callista with the Twisted Advance. Good last tag of the boulders from the Talia secures the kill. And yeah, under tower gets locked up our good friend Maple. And as a whole, the kills go through pretty nicely to PSG. They did have to burn quite a few summoners to do it. namely on the Maokai and the Talia. But their other carries, the other members of the team still have full sums, so overall it's a very worthwhile play. As already looking at items, another Nature's Grasp is thrown out as the Edge of Night was burnt. Renata tanks it up, but the re-engage is here for BLG this time. Jarvan jumps on the Lucian and gets the kill secure. And so does Elk onto Maple. It's just BLG showing up in numbers in response. And they're getting the kills. They're getting the plays. The mid lane tier 1 also falls. And so does Junjai. BLG, they turn around that play from earlier and get more out of this one. You can't run the same play twice against BLG and expect to get away with it. PSG are punished here. And honestly, with the look of there being no objectives here, PSG are very much still alive, because if this fight happened another 30 seconds later, Baron could have gone over to BLG, and that pretty much would have spelt doom for this game. As we watch this again, Nature's Grasp thrown out, Lucian steps forward, and he just steps into a hostile takeover, then into the Jarvan, who just flag and drags through twice to secure 2 kills for the team. Maple trapped in the Cataclysm, no escape there, because we were already saying the big flashes were down on Maple and the Maokai, so they have no escape if they get caught out, and BLG punish. They do well, and they're certainly looking for more, as this is Maple caught out once again. All out goes Bin and pulls this Talia into her own demise. Maokai unable to peel for her mid laner, and he's certainly on the bailout as, well, RZ TP to his own demise again. This is now going to be BLG starting up the Baron, because PSG can't step up. The only member that can really contest is the Maokai, but does he really want to be stepping up into darkness? The vision is there for BLG. They're controlling the entranceways, and yeah, PSG are giving this one up. And the big thing is, objective bounties are on for PSG here. This game has just ballooned open in favor of BLG here. As we watch this fight again, it's just Bin running down Maple. Good use of the CC negation by the Cassante. He also does it twice with the all-out buffering the twisted advance. That meant Maple was going over the wall. That meant this Cassante was able to just free hit and not have to worry about the Maokai peel. Overall, a very solid play from the BLG top laner. And they're continuing to look for more plays as Jarvan's going forward. The Urgot going to be ran down. But on the top side of things, Maokai's caught out. We're seeing more plays as hostile takeovers going to come through. It hits onto 3, but it's not going to be enough as somehow Elk's killed off the Lucian. And Ari's got another Cataclysm come through, but it's flashed out of by Nami. And yeah, BLG are bloodthirsty. When I said earlier that this is a team fighting hungry team, they're certainly looking to showcase that in this game. That's a Weaver's Wall. I haven't seen that in ages in this series. And BLG pushing into the base already. They've cracked open an inhibitor. They're moving over to the other side. They've got a pushing lane in bot. The wave in top side isn't in that good of a position, but they can set it up if needs be. Bear in mind, Baron's on for another minute and 15, so they could go for that. While this is also happening, they're securing Soul Point. Why not? It's free as Knight's just running down the bot lane. He got 1 kill. And that should probably be BLG in the base. Like, fully in the base. All 3 inhibitors down. TP in on the bot side. Knight's rejoining up with his team. And another inhib's gonna fall. BLG kind of are just dominating this one. PSG haven't really been able to do too much Just looking at the gold lead right now. Yeah. 12k 23 minutes is pretty big. And I think that with that, PSG probably are going to call it quits for game 1. I don't think there's a chance for them to claw anything back. Baron is going to fall off in a second. So there is a chance. A Baron steal maybe could deny BLG the game. But it's a last-ditch play more than anything from PSG. Because if they win the last-ditch play, then chances are the game gets thrown back into an absolute pandemonium state. But that's a very slim chance. Because BLG going to play this one controlled. Going to get all the outer towers off the map. Bin's TP'd in, so they're going to look for a play onto the inhibitor tower. And they're certainly looking for more as they've looked to have isolated off Maple once more. He was out of position, and he's certainly going to fall. Nature's Grass is thrown out, so's the Cullen. But the Fate's Call just pulls Renata back to safety. A massive handshake gets the Lucian as a hostile takeover also thrown out. The Nexus Tower's in the eyes of BLG now. And it's going to be doom and gloom for PSG in game 1. The Nexus is open. We're going to game 2 with BLG winning the opening match. Honestly, it's weird standing. I'm going to say it. So, game 1, standardized drafts, I'd say, more than anything. I'm going to grab some food while we talk game 2 on GOL. So, game 2, apologies, my screen's a bit wonky. I don't know why. Give me a minute while I fully sort it, because it looks to have bent more. So, game 2. I need to also move my webcam into a position. I'm going to sit for the rest of the stream because standing's fun and all, but not the best when you're trying to talk a lot. So there we go. Hi. You've got sitting camera me this time. Ugh. Game 2. What can I say? What can I judge based off draft? And no timeline. Well, firstly, is this game 1 or 2's draft? The only difference is Knight and Bin's pick more than anything. So Ozzy takes the Cassante. Maple's on Aurelian. He does well here, Maple, to actually win the sit match. So that's a big difference here between game 1 and 2. Is that the drafts are fairly similar, but PSG execute it better. The Aurelian Soul, a big difference maker, the extra scaling. So how long's the game? It's 30 minutes, so a bit of a mid sort of length game more than anything. And yeah, to be honest, it certainly looks it based off of the stats. That's interesting. BLG getting the objective lead compared to just the fact that PSG out-farmed them. Yeah, actually I say out-farmed them. It looks like BLG dominated the matchup more than anything based off of CSing and all the scores up here, but actually looking at it, it says PSG win. ADC Elk dominated. Also, the fact that PSG stayed on red side's interesting, to be honest. Normally you'd expect the side switch game 2. But no, they stay on red and get the win in game 2. While we're here, let's cover game 4. Because we need to cover it anyway. Ezreal Ashe, interesting. PSG won this one. Vayne top into Cassante is a bit of a yikes. Having said that, can you really blame it when it gets the most kills on the team? Maybe not. Give me a minute. This is getting annoying because I can hear it. It's there. I'll up it in the here. It's there. Anywho, game 4. So PSG actually end up on blue side here for 4. The bot lane Elk and On not really able to do much, and they're the ones to ban the Callista, so that's kind of surprising. But yeah, we haven't seen game 3 yet to understand why, but it's a PSG win. Game 3. So I'm intrigued to see how that one goes. So let's get into it. I'm going to take it a bit more slow because I want to eat and just relax for a bit. So forgive me if the stream isn't as energetic as what we gave game 1. Didn't mean to hit that. Okay, I'll go back to the beginning. There we go. So, draft. BLG on blue. PSG red. Ashe, Nautilus, Rumble removed so far. Don't know why my computer's like this. Ahri removed. Feeling the fears of Knight's Ahri once again. Senna picked up to the ban phase by BLG. This is looking like Lucian Kalista yet again. But Kalista's banned, so either BLG take Lucian first pick and have to face like a something Nami lane, or PSG get Lucian Nami, because BLG could quite easily pilot the Varus, but Elk isn't necessarily known for that. He's more known for the Kalistas and the Lucians, especially at MSI last year. So PSG's response to Vi is up and available for themselves. They can deny the pick. Why am I on full screen? Can I just ask that? There we go. Back into draft. Don't know why it put me on full screen. So, here we go. Let's talk about it. Lucian locked in. Zeri Vi locked up for PSG. I mean, Nami kind of has to come in here if you're BLG to get the bot lane, because otherwise it's going into a Zeri Lulu lane. That's the more common thought here. But it's down to what BLG preface here is. Pick, like, a good pick. Nami comes through. Did I go mid laner here or jungle? Because Zin's up. Why does my... Zin's available, Jarvan's available again. Taliyah's also a pick. They could go mid. I'd much rather see jungle come in here so they're kind of matching and not revealing too much. But Taliyah comes through. So, PSG probably going to show Lulu. Ban phase 2. Zeri Yumi also is a possibility. But Lulu's the slightly stronger of the two in the current meta. I'd certainly rather see her than Yumi, because everyone hates Yumi. Ban phase time. I mean, you've got to ban, like... I was going to put Ari, but she's banned. But Azir against Maple's quite big. Aurelion. He's piloted it to success already. What else is there? TF, ban out top laners. But Azir's banned. Aurelion's probably going to come out next. Sedge. Move from Shun. Jarvan if you're feeling relatively frisky. You could also ban Xin because you have Vi. If you're PSG. And I think as a whole, the top lane matchup's going to be relatively untouched, and I can just see them going Sion, Cassante in top lane. Just because it's safe and available. I can see it coming through. But yeah, last ban from BLG will be the Aurelion Soul, so TF not going to be banned out. PSG's response. What are they fancying here? Maple has got a good Nico. Saw it on TSM. Whether or not he wants to bring it out on the international stage is a different question. He is gonna. Okay, so Nico for Maple. BLG's response. Gonna show the entire draft. Wukong is up. It's an interesting pick into Zeri. But I'd like it. to get onto Lulu more than anything. And how do they round it out? Top lane, either you go blind pick Cassante, just say day safe Zac. But it is Bin. He could go Jax here. Instead, gonna just lock in the Cassante, and I'm starting to notice a trend of just hovering Vayne for the sake of hovering Vayne. But it's not a terrible pick, I don't think, here for Arzi. It would work quite well into the Cassante. You could also push the Wukong away when he goes forward. Just going to go to safety though. Urgot, very, very safe. Kind of strong right now. But yeah. Not the most explosive of drafts from PSG. I think the Zeri's the most explosive element. And it's essentially going to be BLG trying to hunt for the Zeri and kill her before she kills everyone. So, realistically speaking, they're looking to play early BLG and get the picks off that way. But yeah. Only time will tell as to if that happens. I'm going to sit back a little bit and eat my food while we're loading to draft. Into game. If you like some clue as to what I've just eaten, or if you'd just like to know, I had a barbecue chicken tendies burrito with skin on fries, grated cheese, and mayonnaise. It's absolutely lovely in taste. The grated cheese makes it. As bot side, already seen a bit of a fight. Zeri's starting to put pressure down onto Nami. But the collapse is coming through. Mid lane is down here, and it looks like we're going to just get a standardized 2v2. Which is kind of nice. Just standard lanes, pretty nice if they do come into fruition. Looking at runes, nothing out of the ordinary. Again, it's fleet footwork on the Surgot. That's the only big thing that I notice to be out of place more than anything. But to be honest, he did it game one. He didn't really do too much on it per se in terms of the pick. It wasn't really that potent. But hey, clearly he likes the pick, as he can do quite well on it. So, let's continue on with game number 2. Standardized push. We've already seen mid-wave be pushing in favor of the Taliyah. Nico doesn't have the best wave clear comparative to Taliyah, because Taliyah just throws rocks. And the Unraveled Earth does a lot of work in AoE terms, as bot side heals burn out from both sides of the rift, as Zeri steps forward, does quite a bit of damage down onto BLG, getting an early game lead. They're looking to get a bit more, as Elk just trading quite aggressively. His health bar gets evened out with the Zeris, and this is where the Nami gets to be the benefactor of all this. The extra sustain. However, what I will say is, Elk could be caught out and flashed on as the flash Q comes through from the Vi, But it's instead the Nami forced to burn flash as well. That's 2 summoners for 2. All things considered, because Zeri flashed as well forward. Vi flashed. But so did the Lucian Nami. They're susceptible to a gank now. And BLG's bot lane going to be on the back foot for the foreseeable future. Up until them flashes are back up for them. Now, realistically speaking, I don't think that will be too big of a deal. I think Lucian's quite good at farming under tower. But if the Vi can punish it and get aggressive, it's definitely going to be a good thing to have happened for PSG. Now, obviously, the Vi probably won't be able to get the kill because she had to burn flash. But hey, maybe we see a tower dive coming out from PSG. The good thing for BLG is they've got this ward down in the brush for maybe another minute or 2. And essentially what that means is the potential tower dive that could come through from PSG won't. Because BLG can play respectful. Their ward's being cleared out here, PSG. And that's big for BLG. It means that they can play a bit more aggressive. It means that Elk doesn't have to be wary as much because there isn't a ward behind him. There isn't a pathway for Junjai to go down. Because don't forget, the Vi Q goes over walls. So in theory, he could go over the Dragon Pit and wrap round and get a play. But because of the fact that BLG are kind of clearing out the vision, it means that it makes it harder to go for that play because Jun could be just hovering down there and protecting his bot lane. Granted, that's a highly unlikely thing to happen. Anyway, speaking of pelays, Nico's down here. Polymorph's used early. The dive could actually come out now. With the fact Nico's down here, TP to the top side. The play is going to happen. Oh, yikes, Maple. He invests flash. The Pot Blossom just not good enough. And yeah, simply put, PSG over. Play their hand. To be honest, Maple didn't have to flash play for the Pot Blossom. Just needed a wave to crash, really. And then a play would have come through. But, hey. Certainly content it's bought a recall timer for the Lulu. Who's bought up a few items, got herself some booties. Going to be able to get around the map a little bit quicker. And possibly affect other lanes with Void Grubs up. Shouldn't probably is passing straight over to them. Because Drake started up here by PSG, and this is something that we touched on yesterday. Typically it's Grubbies that are taken before the Drake. And I think it's twice in this series we've seen Drake before Grubs. And that's kind of an intriguing sort of flip-flop on the objectives that we kind of have seen throughout the tourney. Now, I'm just about to grab food, but I see that a potential play, never mind, Zeri's shown herself. If Zeri stayed in that brush and BLG pushed past the point, that certainly looked like a kill. But with Vi going over the wall here, play could happen. She is going to walk over the sword. But I'm trying to see, the wave isn't stacked up just enough. Isn't going to be spotted by the ward. Just going to back shadow her bot lane for any potential play. Is this time it's looking like a bait more than anything from PSG. And BLG aren't really responding as Vi shows herself flashing forward. This time it's flashes back off cooldown, but it's still his first blood over to PSG. Vi's being chunked here by this Nami, but the shield comes through, and she is going to fall as Maple shows up. So does... not Maple. Maple and Knight showed up, to be fair, but... Nami does well to outplay the tower dive. It was looking weird what Junjai was doing, but it was a... I think expected play more than anything out from BLG. They realized that probably the Vi is down here. And the massive thing here is, because the Vi flashed to get both the flashes out from the BLG bot lane, they kind of knew that they were back off cooldown. So they knew how much to invest and when to invest it. PSG played it well. As mid, Zeri's going aggressive, popping the ulti and just running down Elk. Now it's Nami's turn to be ran down. The Glitterlance just slows her enough to give a double kill over to this Zeri. When you burn someone is out from carries and you know they're down, it means that you can expend yours to get kills, and PSG utilized that advantage. And boy oh boy, Betty feeling pretty good for himself right now. Got himself Static Shiv, and that's probably going to be a pretty easy push for him, considering the fact that, well, Elk hasn't got his yet. And we kind of talked about when you build Static Shiv versus Kraken Slayer on Lucian. And this is the opportunity. Well, this is one of them games you build Static Shiv, because you know that Zeri's going to have potent wave clear. Probably going to go Hurricane second, or into IE. Or IE second into Hurricane. One or two. It's that awkward build path. Do you go for the damage up front, or do you go for the AoE damage that Zeri has? Anyway, Zeri's just stood there, pops the ulti, the tower shot comes through onto Elk, and that just means Zeri can run him down. A good Glitterlance there to slow down the Nami, and it's an easy double kill to the PSG bot laner. Even if you couldn't tell by the cinematic view, as mid lane, the Pot Blossom's going to be used, but Wukong's here, going to get Maple's flash out. This Pot Blossom been a bit of torment for its own user, as Maple failed to land the first one. This time he lands it, but gets immediately bursted out and losing his flash off the back of it. It's kind of not nice. Anyway, 20 seconds. Chemdrake could still see Cloud Soul on the table. PSG not going to start it up just yet. They have got positioning set up around it, as Zeri freely pushing bot side, and that's keeping Elk down here still, because of the fact that PSG just have free push. He wants to get the XP and the gold that's being lost to the tower, so he's trying to stick around. And because of that, because of the fact that Zeri and Lulu peel off to go take the second Drake of the game, BLG gonna make that bot lane a little bit safer for themselves, not stuck under tower. And it's Drake for Grubby's trade yet again. 2 Drakes for 2 sets of Grubbies. I'd say that's worth it for BLG. The extra sieging potential they give. Now granted, that will require you to be pushing. And considering the fact that only 2 of their lanes have an advantage, I think as a whole, it's going to be the Cassante and the Talia getting pushed for themselves and getting tower damage. Prediction G2 T1. I believe I made it on Monday this week, but I think I said as potential play. I'll actually pause it here and answer that. I believe I said 3-2 because it's realistically going to be a close series between the two teams. I want to say G2 coming in as the highest seed, so they'll probably have side select. I'm pretty sure I did say G2 in the prediction, but my gut is saying, considering how the rest of this tournament has gone so far and the level the Eastern teams are at, T1 will probably win it. Though I do want G2 to absolutely dominate them like the Red Bull tournament they had on recently. Well, end of last year. But yeah, I do think, though, G2 will probably fumble the bag somehow. I think topside's probably going to be the big issue. Broken Blade, while he's performed well, he does kind of fumble a little bit on the international stage, which is it's expected. It's a bigger stage and tougher opponents. But anyway, back to the series we're actually watching today. And to be honest, play fizzled out into absolutely nothing. And the two teams just gonna push. It's a little mini lane swap, obviously, for Grubs. But Cullen's not going to do too much damage. It chips a little bit over the Urgot's health bar as the cease and desist comes through. And they're going to just kill off Elk. Good ulti from the Urgot. Landing it when it's point blank means that it's a little bit easier to get the kill when the Vi goes forward. That's a well worked play. And when you see the Lucian trying to get aggressive, trying to force pressure, and you're just like, cool, you've done about 1/8 of my health. I'm just going to stay around and just kill you. It's a pretty nice thing to see if you're PSG. And to be honest, looking at the kill scores, 1-4 with a Zeri with 2 of the kills, pretty nice, as they look to have caught out another member, Cassante. Gonna be ghosting away. And because the bot lane tier 1 is being hit, they're gonna be fine, content. Just gonna back it up, clear the wave. Urgot will show. Cassante made it back to base, so he's lucky that way. Probably would have gone in and just been a top laner's wet noodle fight. Mid lane, again, it's not been chunked out this time too much compared to game number 1. But you could definitely see Shun pathing there and just taking the mid lane tier 1 with Harold. And this is something we've seen quite a bit. Is the Jujai counter jungle. Just stealing away camps. Took blue in game 1. Took red here. He certainly feels very... It feels very close to series now. With the fact PSG have taken 1 game. BLG, personally, on the back foot for most of this. And it feels weird to be saying that, considering how explosive game 1 was. They don't seem to be able to exert the same sort of pressure. And perhaps it's because they don't have, like, the safety of a Renata to keep their carries alive. That could be playing a potent effect, like, in the back of their minds. But yeah, I'm going to be honest. The fact that right now, 15 minutes on the clock, it's a slight goal lead for PSG. You're kind of worried if you're BLG here, because Zeri's going to get more and more powerful. She's almost towards her Hurricane. Lucian's had 2 energized shards in this one, which is kind of weird. Don't normally expect to see that this early, as Zeri stepping forward, TP going to come in on the backside, and they look to have caught out this Nami. It's going to be an instant deletion as the bot lane of BLG is killed. Wukong gets killed off next, and this is just TPing into your own demise. BLG possibly gonna fall and get ace, but no. PSG just pull back to safety. They know that Drake's up in 10 seconds. It's unfortunately Cloud Soul for them. And the funny thing is, the very funny thing is, I'd say it's pretty worthwhile for PSG. With a Zeri and a Lulu, the Rubble E is very potent and combine quite well. Same with Pot Blossom. I'm pretty sure as soon as you press R, like for the first time initially, the Cloud Soul buff takes effect and you get the movement speed with the slowed mobility that you get with it. This is interesting. You miss the zap, but you still go in because you realize that they're isolated. You have 4 members, the ability to TP in. PSG playing that fight well, and honestly, knowing they can make the play. Oh look, Herald mid. It doesn't even need to crash. So that's actually well worked there by Shun to realize I don't need to crash it. He drove it as close as possible without hitting. And so that's pretty good. Smart. Hits the tier 2, and this is actually good usage of the Weave as well. Game 1, Maple wasn't really able to utilize it for aggression, for sectioning away BLG for tower takes. And there, we already saw Knight utilizing it to do just that thing. And that's certainly something we're probably going to see a bit more of if BLG get a grip on this game. Now, compared to Game 1, the tempo certainly feels a lot slower. And it certainly fits the PSG style a lot more. And maybe that's a sign of how this game is going. BLG and PSG just contesting mid together. The calling's quite big as the Pot Blossom's gonna land onto Lucian. What? Can I get a replay of that? So you flashed and cleansed. But like that looked way too quick. Like it looked like he immediately drove about 20 yards away as PSG are getting caught out in their own jungle. Presumably we're not going to get a replay. Let's create our own. I'm just going to lower the playback speed because it looks interesting. It looks funky. Like, in super real time. So the culling's used. Pot Blossom alongside it. He insta-cleanses... Like, the tidal wave makes it really hard to notice the fact that he cleanses and flashes simultaneously. So, overall, it's a well-worked play. I say well-worked play. It's a good responsive play from Elk to get out. But, I've got to be honest. This pick really shouldn't have happened. they are unaware that there's a ward there, so that helps BLG. But it's an easy shutdown when the bubble lands. You get the seismic shove. It's a huge outplay by BLG to get that one. Now they get the bot lane to 1. And this is looking like game 1 again, with BLG constantly looking to put pressure onto the map. Like, once they get 1 winning play, they turn it into about 5 more. But it's slower than game 1. We've already started to comment on that. They're losing in terms of objectives, minus the grubbies, as... Oh, we are getting a replay. That looked way too quick in real time. Insta-cleanse flash when you're tagged by Pot Blossom just doesn't seem right to me. Like in my brain. But hey, I might go into practice tool and see how that works. So, let's take stock of where we are in the game. 21 minutes in. Drake up in 12 seconds. And solo possibility is Vi goes forward, getting in. The Pot Blossom's not really going to land onto anyone as Cassante negates its CC effect. That allows Elk to get the kills on the backside. And now BLG are just deleting them. Zeri is popping off, but she's being isolated off. The Cyclone lands, and she's going to fall on her own. All that's left is this Lulu, who's just bringing BLG over to the Baron. And good night, PSG in this game. That's a fumble. They fumbled the bag. To be honest, it's a big fumble as well. It's given game control over to BLG. Is what happened. It's a good buffer by the Urgot to get away. He ults the clone. And Junjai falls because of it. Maple has a bad ulti again. He's really not looking that good in this series on the pick. Wukong gets the double ulti. Seismic Shove as well. Audi and Tofo strike. One of the 2 knockback spells hits Maple, killing him. And PSG fumble the bag. That's the pretty easy explanatory, and they don't get Soul. It's stolen away by Knight, and now I'm looking for the Weaver's Wall. Where are they going to drop it? The Cullen lands. A lot of damage down onto the Vi. Just watch Knight. He could honestly drop the wall and trap all of PSG in, but he isn't going to be able to, as that's a big 3-man Pot Blossom, but it's too late, as all of PSG have fallen, and the TPs are going into the base. PSG running for their lives, but they're not going to be able to survive in the base as the Cassante, and Bin's hungry. He gets onto the Urgot. Flash comes out too late, and down goes Ozzy. Open is the mid lane tier 3, and the inhibitor falls alongside it. BLG gonna win game number 3. Just like that, a flip of a switch, and the lead goes over to BLG, and PSG can't play from there. Simple as you like. The Zeri gets caught, it's over. Good night, game 3. And we've got 1 game left tonight. It's game 5. It goes all the way to Silver Grapes this series. Which, to be honest, no one expected. And as such, we get a 5th game to break down. And I'm interested to see how it turns out. So, oh boy. Tired me with a game 5 is never a good sign. I'm going to have a quick bite to eat before we start this one, shall we? I'll actually just load the base draft and then go from there. There we go. Because the issue with... I'm going to say this right now. The issue with the international broadcasts are they always start late and the timing's off, which is insane, considering the majority of the fan base are watching the international broadcasts. But hey, it is what it is. And I'll get into draft in a few seconds. I want to have a nom nom. Okay. There we go. Whee. So, game number 5. I was about to say 3. I've been used to 3-game series all week. Let's discuss it. BLG on blue, PSG on red. Nort, Talia, Vi, removed by BLG. Ari, Callista, and presumably Renata. Okay, so fearful of that pick. Lucian Nami could quite easily just drop that straight away insta-lock. They're just gonna go Varus, okay. A little weird. Considering the fact that BLG have just found so much success on Elk's Lucian this series, the fact it's not picked up first is surprising because Senna's up. Senna TK. Just lock it in. Secure the bot lane of dreams for yourselves. PSG, secure it, because it looks like they're scaling, boys. Whether or not they reach their scaling breakpoint's a different story. But it is a potent possibility. BLG drop in the Ashka Sante. Prioritizing Bin a little earlier than normal. But he has kind of just been playing Cassante all series. Not really been able to play anything out the norm except for a Vayne game. PSG's response. I mean, Azir works. I'd much rather see that out from Maple than any of the other picks. Nico didn't work out for him. So that will come through. Ban phase 2. Do you target the mid lane? Because Aurelian's up. Never mind, he's down now. As soon as you say it, it gets removed. BLG can ban out tops, to be honest, here. If they want. Junglers also could be targeted. Vi's off the board already. Xin Jarvan. I didn't even know he'd get banned then, as I said him. I've got the magic touch right now. What other strong picks are there? What's the one I normally forget in the jungle? Wukong. That could be a good ban here. Corki as well. That's a nice ban. It hasn't been shown by Night just yet, I don't think, in the series from what we've been watching. But it is still a strong pick overall. We saw Cream just put on a masterclass with it yesterday. And here I'm thinking it's probably the best option. It would have been into Corki's ear. Oh god. As much as the meta changes, it always stays the same. Rumble's going to be removed. Okay, so Wukong? Lee Sin? Question marks? On them picks? I think Wukong's better than Lee Sin right now. Purely based on the fact I think it counters Lee quite heavily. Viego is an option. So carry jungler for PSG. I mean, the Vi for Junjai worked out well in terms of counter jungling. I think Viego's a little bit better in getting the quick clears. But it does depend on how BLG want to play this one. They've gone for a tank in the top lane. They've not revealed mid or jungle. They could quite honestly go for a Kindred. I mean, Kindred, wow. We're playing a Marks game. This is an interesting jungle matchup. Don't drop the Vayne. Not into a Kindred, anyway. Go tanky. Go frontline. Protect thy team. TK's the only frontliner you have up until this Udyr lock in for PSG. It's better than Urgot, because I don't think Kazi's won on Urgot yet. And to be honest, Udyr kind of does well here. It's a low mobility comp, apart from the Kindred and Cassante, I guess, but it's low mobility carries. That's the big thing. BLG could quite easily be ran down. They're going to have to play on a knife's edge. And as for PSG, you've kind of got some counters to that Kindred. When she pops the Lamb's Respite, Azero can pull them out. It's a very potent combination. I honestly would have liked this is actually a situation where I would have liked the Urgot. Because can't you pull someone out with the ulti? You get your meat grinder hooks on them and just pull them out of that Kindred Lamb's Respite ulti. That's just my thoughts. But regardless of that, I wonder if there's any of G2 like coaching staff, strategic analysts in the crowd for this series. They're certainly watching it, because either the winner or the loser of this one will face G2 next week, or T1. That's who they've got to look forward to. And I, for one, would really like to see an explosive matchup to round this series out. Kindred's interesting because we're playing the Marks game, and I can kind of start to talk about them once I do the magic trick where I move my face to a better position. Boom. Hi. So, the Marks game. Essentially, Kindred needs to hit her marks. 4 marks is the big major power spike people know her for, as she gets the extra attack range and damage. Looking at runes, nothing out of the ordinary there. It's standard. But back to Kindred. 4 marks is a strong point. How do you get marks? Well, the first mark always spawns on Scuttle. Which Scuttle? It's a coin flip. So you as a whole need to get early control in that matchup. Viego early game clears a lot quicker than what Kindred does. So expect for that to work out in the favor of PSG. Now, the interesting thing is PSG are the ones taking the lane swap here. Realizing that the bot lane, the Ashe Varus, is a very potent poke lane. They can't really step into it with Santa TK. They're just going to be content with TK free farming in top lane. Kind of like a top laner. Now, as this is happening, Viego's pathing topside. Meaning, he's essentially taking a gamble that the first mark will spawn on the top side. And that's a big thing for PSG, because they've put the bot lane as their weak side. So I'm just looking at where the Kindred is, and she's already down into the bottom river. And the big thing to note is a possible tower dive is set up onto the Udyr. Now, this essentially means if the tower dive works in favor of BLG, they get the kill and everyone out, it's going to be huge. But PSG TP down, get the flash out from Shun. This is actually very big, because the fact is, if PSG like somehow traded the tower dive in a 1-for-1, and it was, say, the Kindred who was tanking tower that fell, it would have meant that... I'm just also looking to see if she picks up the mark here. It looks like she just got a mark. So, That's actually huge for her. If Jun fell there, that would have been huge because PSG could have got double scuttle. However, the lucky thing for Shun is he's got his first mark, so he can begin hunting like other camps. They're a bit more random. It's going to be into the enemy jungle, and he's going to try and steal them away. That's kind of Kindred's MO, is stealing camps. Now, whether or not he's able to is a different story, as already we've seen the lane swap revert as Udyr and TK TP to the opposite sides of the map. Now, as a whole, this is pretty big for him, and I'm pretty sure... I wish there was a way to see who... There you go. There's how we see who the Kindred is hunting. She's hunting Viego. So, that's kind of surprising. Expect if she's going up here for a play, that to switch over to the Udyr. She isn't going to do so. In fact, that's kind of big. And while First Blood goes over to the Kindred, she's not going to be the benefactor of a mark. Typically, you expect before going for a play, the Kindred to switch marks before and then force the play. Because, typically speaking, in pro play, there's already action in that lane that you're ganking. Now, while that's happening, Kindred got First Blood, took a reset. Viego is counter jungling. And this is kind of the interesting thing to note. This hookshot across the map is going to spot essentially all the big camps. And it means that Viego... Well, what Viego's done is known. And Kindred can actually respond effectively to it. She's not having to spend time checking the wolf camp. So, realistically speaking, On has just saved about 20 seconds on the Kindred's clear path. And it's resulted in some free time to take Void Grubs. And while obviously we haven't watched games 2 and 4, what we have seen is the Void Grubs typically taken after Drake. Now, Kindred's focusing this scuttle. She hasn't got Smite, but Viego does, as the Pot Blossom's going to come through. There's a decent chunk. They're focusing down to Viego. It would be a mark if it was secured, but the other mark is being secured by Kindred. And that's actually quite big. It means that she gets her second mark 6 minutes into the game. I can read. It's a bit blurry, but I can read. That's kind of nice, to be honest. 2 marks, 6 minutes. Pretty good. If you got the kill onto Viego, that would have been 3 marks. Viego spotted with the hawk shot, and he's going to be able to heal up, obviously, with the camps and his jungle item. But yeah, pretty worthwhile for BLG, that play. Doesn't result in a kill, but it does get a Kindred advantage. Top side, turret plates going into the back pockets of On. Bin. Not On. Kind of nice for them. And double objective control. Kindred's on fire this early game. It's intriguing to see this happen. Because the top lane is a winning lane for BLG. And the fact that Kindred has a lot of the power. They've been able to translate it into Grubs first. And then because their bot lane's doing okay. And realistically speaking are winning the matchup. Because TK Center scales hard. They're very weak early. So you're not expecting to get kills there. As essentially BLG can freely take the first few objectives. And PSG are kind of stuck watching as it happens. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm just waiting for marks to appear so we could kind of talk about something. Because that's kind of what we're playing around right now. Are the Kindred marks. So, where's the next one going to spawn? As I'm just looking at the vision on the map. It's very shallow, / there really isn't any for PSG. Whereas BLG kind of got for themselves a line here. So they're trying to control the top half, hoping a thing spawns there. Kindred hasn't put a mark down onto the Udyr. We'll get another kill off the back of it, maybe. Flashing forward. Had to invest quite a bit there to get it, though. So, BLG getting a lot is mid lane. Empress Device thrown out. Pot Blossom used. It somehow hits too. And Knight gets away. That's kind of surprising, to be honest, that happens. But yeah. BLG get another kill for this Kindred. It's kind of unfortunate the marks aren't being put onto the Udyr. Finally, the mark's been put onto Maple. And wait, I think it's a spectator bug. It has to be, because I just saw it being dropped onto Maple. Anyway, Viego's been run down. And Heal comes through. They're trying to chase him. They're not going to overchase. They haven't got flash. One more auto would have done it. But Viego's now not in a position to contest these grubs. BLG forcing hard, trying to get picks, but it's working in their favor because they're turning it into objectives. And they're looking again to get this Udyr. This time he's got backup in the center. But it won't be too much. Kindred showing up. And the 2v3 could come into fruition. TP is available for Maple. And he could join up. It's a double TP as the 4v3 could come through. First kill goes over as center falls to Knight. The Devour was used. And that's just going to be Kindred running down Maple. Somehow, the Varus picks him off with a long-range arrow. Dawning Shadow thrown out as Sender's respawned. But it's a little bit too late as TK is isolated. The tower's down. He's abyssal voyaging to his own demise. Knight secures another. And, well, I was about to say, finally Kindred picked up another mark, but it's stuck on Viego. Still. Sort it out, Shun. So we watched the tower dive. It's just BLG investing more members to the play than what PSG are. And as such, it means that this 5-man unit of BLG are just bursting through 3 members of PSG. Pot Blossom a little late, but it slows down TK. Somehow Ashe executed to the tower. Like, that's pretty cool. In all of that chaos, you somehow execute. Arrow goes wide, speaking of Ashe. And BLG, we're looking at already 5k gold lead in their favor. Varus ult come through. A lot of chunk down to this Udyr. He isn't that tanky this early game, even though he's stacked up quite a bit of armor. Jun starting up this Drake. It's been, again, a full objective control showcase from BLG this series. And more specifically, this game is everything is going over to the Kindred. 2 Drakes plus 2 Grubbies. She's just picked up for herself her 3rd mark onto the Gromp in a very unique setup. As BLG obviously hard push in bot side, it gave her the chance to invade, take away the camp, and yeah, mark secured. This is arguably a very quick 3 marks. Shun not even top of the leaderboard in terms of gold, even though he is the team's gold lead in terms of kills. He's behind in CS, which is the caveat of the play for going for mainly kills. Harold started up, and what do you know? BLG on another objective. PSG stepping up though this time. And into the back goes Viego. He steals it away. He's not able to pick up this eye just yet. Forced a heartbreaker out. Not going to walk into Maple. Santa could go get it. But it's too late, I think. Eye's going to despawn. BLG kind of don't lose anything after a stolen objective. So I guess good work by PSG to do that. It's weird to say. But hey. Viego hunting the Kindred this time. Obviously, Lamb's Respite is available and will be used here as TK goes aggressive. Now it's a flash out from Jun as a massive Pot Blossom lands. Down goes TK. Down goes Udyr, and BLG find 2 kills in a massive turnaround play. I'm going to give credit there once again to Jun for baiting in the members of PSG. But god damn, the damage that BLG have right now, so goddamn high. Like, let's watch it again. I would say it's baiting, but he's just waiting for the wave to hit the tower so he can step up and hit it. But good flank play from Viego. If it weren't for the fact that BLG are just so damn quick to respond to plays that it's just a different tempo that PSG aren't used to playing at. And BLG are dictating the tempo of this game. Just having a brief look to see where the next mark is. And I'm slightly concerned about Jun not knowing that he can switch the passive off of the Viego, because he's been sat on him all game. And he's not been able to get a kill onto him, whereas this Udyr's died 4 times. He could have at least got 1 mark. Okay, Udyr's got the mark on him. There we go. It finally switches over. Shun hunting Arzi. Now, personally, this is where PSG play on the back foot, because, well, Arzi plays on the back foot. This is also where the Viego can start to make plays, as that's a massive Varasort going to tag up Maple as he fails to land the Emperor's Divide. TP's burnt out as the Kindred starting to skirmish with the Viego. Continuation of the play is that the mid lane tier 1 has fallen as a lot of Void Grubs crash into the tower. The wave still alive. This tier 2 is also going to fall as the Pot Blossom will land. Udyr falls. It will result in a mark for Kindred. Dawning Shadow thrown out. Going to tag on to 2. PSG losing out quite heavily on this play. And I would say once again, full objective control for BLG. But the last time I said that, there was a stolen objective by the Viego. This time, won't be given access into the pit, and soul point secured for BLG. Now, what I was saying earlier about 4 marks. we'll get to that in a minute as we watch this play again. The Emperor's Divide's a good idea. The Varus uses a Q, so you go in. The Ash Arrow gets dodged, and a lot of ultis were burnt there. Varus ult, Devour, Ash Arrow, and the Azir ult. But, to be honest, it's the Pot Blossom you really have to be fearful of, as it lands and kills off the Udyr. The simple explanation. Back to live, and Neeko and Ashe stepping forward, just trying to keep PSG out of their own jungle. Neeko looks to have caught the Viego out, and with 18 seconds on Baron, PSG could be in a lot of trouble here. BLG still hunting. As the mid lane, Azir Tower going to be dropped. Maple trying to protect his team. But Baron is up. Viego is down for another 16 seconds. BLG just going to start the objective up. Kindred's already very strong. Has a lot of damage. Collector plus Kraken Slayer. Gonna mean that this objective is just gonna melt. The health bar, double ADCs on BLG's side, it's gone. Baron down, and so is the Udyr. The Varus secures that kill, and PSG forced a retreat. Keep your eyes on Maple. He's looking for a potential counterplay. The Varus is isolated, but will be able to get away. This is what happens when you step into your own jungle without any control. PSG getting caught out. The Viego hunted down. 5 marks now for this Kindred who's looking to get another. It's not onto the Azir, but it's still a kill. Down goes Woody, and PSG's chances in this series well and truly gone. The Baron, yet again, it's a formality. It feels like BLG are just trying to use whatever one Baron they get to win the game. This tier 3 in the mid lane definitely falling here. And PSG just running for the hills. It's doom and gloom. The mid lane inhibitor gonna fall. The bot wave gonna crash into the tier 3. And there's another minute 40 on this Baron. It's definitely going to be the bot lane tier 1 to 3 falling. As Casante's going forward, a massive 3-man in Topho Strike lands. All out, he goes, but he's trapped under the tower. This Emperor's Divide keeps him under there. And that's going to result in a 1-for-1 trade. The Ash Arrow lands, TK, next target. A Pot Blossom lands onto 3. It does a lot of damage, but PSG are trapped on their fountain. Lamb's Respite thrown out here by Shun to buy some time for the rest of his team to heal up as the push onto this Nexus Tower is already beginning. The first one will fall. PSG see the low health bars, but BLG gonna play it safe. They get one Nexus Tower and back it up to safety, knowing full well this game is inches away from being finished. Honestly, now, expect BLG to play on one lane, that top lane, get all 3 inhibs down. This here is actually a good play from Maple. All things considered, he gets devoured up and healed, protected. The 1-for-1 trade, though, the caveat of it, the Viego for the Cassante, kinda nice. Then it's just a massive Pot Blossom. Knight does work there. It almost gets a multi-kill. As we come back to life, Cassante's just killed the Senna. Out of nowhere. Don't even see how that happened. Baron's down. And this Nexus Tower in the sight. The health bars regen this time though for BLG. The Azir Tower just being deleted. As Void Grubs are going to land down. They've already managed to get a pick off onto this Udyr, who's just not tanky enough at this stage of the game. A 3-man Emperor's Divide comes through, but Maple's already down and out. It's a 1-for-1 trade in the end of that as Cassante gets foiled. But here comes Jun. This Kindred unstoppable this game. 7-0-9 to end PSG's hopes here at MSI. Even though they're still in the lower bracket. But yeah, it's a pretty solid game from BLG. The series closer than expected. 2 extra games that people didn't expect because they thought BLG would steamroller them. Game 5 was that steamroller. BLG just needed a few games to warm up into it, let's be honest. They wanted to make this close, entertaining thing and prove the doubters wrong. You know, make people feel like shit for saying PSG weren't going to make it past 3. But they do, and they're the only team that have done so far. Maybe tomorrow we see that from either T1 or G2. Now, that's going to be it for me today. Been a weird one. God, the lighting's horrible on this. I'm going to say that. Let me do that. Ah! Yeah, it's weird. Let me just lower the saturation. I look really weird. That's a bit more normal. Needs a bit more saturation though. There we go. Slightly too much, but hey, it'll do. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. I know it's a bit of a late one compared to normal. And it's 2 hours long. Pretty interesting, to be honest, this series as a whole. But hey, it is what it is. I'm tired. I get to go rest now and eat the rest of my food. But yeah, thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below. Subscribe if you want to. And I'll see you guys for G2 T1 tomorrow.